Welcome to Prof Skills 2, Lesson 16, where today we're talking all about leadership. We're looking at pages 214 to 228 of your textbook. And the lesson summary for today is, do you consider yourself to be a natural leader? Do people actually want to follow you, or do you force them to follow you? And that's what we're going to be looking at today in this class, is leaders and how to be a good leader. And that means one that people want to follow, not one that people are forced to follow. So the topics we're going to cover today are leadership behaviors and styles, followers, and situational variables. Alright, so at the end of this slide, please pause the video and do the exercises and watch the talk. So please do the self-assessment exercise on page 215 of your textbook. Again, do you agree with the results, or are they surprising? Please keep these results in mind as we go through the concepts covered in your text. And a skill that I always want you to keep on thinking about, it comes up so many times, is the skill of adaptability. Google has said that one of the number one skills that they value in their employees is adaptability. How adaptable are you? I hope that you have downloaded these slides from Cole Campus. Please click on the link here and watch the Simon Sinek talk, and then carry on with these slides. So the skill concepts for today. We're going to look at transactional leaders, and transactional leaders are those who get things done through others. So this is done through delegation, a topic that we've discussed in depth already. They're also called implementing leaders. They apply both task and relationship behaviors, which we will discuss soon, in a very specific leadership style to influence people to do what they want them to do in order to achieve organizational goals. Motivation is a huge part of this. You can't just get people to do things by shouting at them. They have to be motivated to do the work that they have to do. So leadership is the ability to influence individuals and groups to the achievement of both personal and institutional or organizational goals. So how a person does this is down to their leadership style. There's no really one right or wrong leadership style. It often just depends on the situation. The purpose of this lecture is to discuss which leadership style is appropriate in different circumstances, because that is one of the things about being a good leader, is learning to see what your followers need from you, how to motivate them in specific situations, and that might differ from person to person. It's really important to analyze any situation to decide which style is appropriate, and this is where situational analysis comes into play. So what are leader behaviors, and what do we mean when we talk about leadership styles? So I brought up already both task-orientated behaviors and relationship behaviors, and it's really important as a leader to decide which behavior is right for which situation. So task-oriented behaviors focus on what activities need to be achieved at that time. What goals are we working towards, and what activities are going to help us achieve those goals? Whereas relationship behaviors are focused on the people involved. As you've probably already guessed, most situations probably are a mixture of the two. Transactional leaders require help and input of their team. Those are people, those are individual, in order to accomplish their goals, and those are behaviors, those are tasks and activities. Leaders have to figure out the balance of these behaviors so that they can get the most out of their teams. So I want you to consider a leader who focused too hard on one set of behaviors. So in other words, somebody who was just down to business with every single task, and alternatively, someone who was just down to relationship building, hanging out, chatting all the time. I want you to think about a leader who was a bit imbalanced with these behaviors. And then I want you to think about a leader who maybe got the balance right. So that's leadership styles. Next, we're going to talk about followers. So followers will determine your leadership style in a lot of different ways. A method that works in one crowd is not going to work well in another. So it's really important for you as a leader to be able to get to know your followers and see what works for them. It often comes down to how ready they are to follow in a given situation. I don't know if you've ever been put in a situation before where you don't really have the authority to lead, but you do have the skills, and you try and get something going, and nobody is ready to follow you. Nobody respects your authority, and they just do not want to get going with it. So this might mean that you need to change up your leadership style just a little bit. So readiness to follow can be broken down into two different categories, the ability to complete a task and the willingness to complete a task. So you might be able to do it, but you might not want to. You might really, really want to do it, but not know how. And all of this goes into the profile of your followers. So it's up to you as the leader to check the readiness of your group members before you settle on the right leadership style. And this is summarized in figure 1 on page 216. Please pause the video here and go and read through that figure. Next is situational variables, and there are many, many different situational variables that are involved. First of all, trust. I come back to trust, honesty, integrity quite often. And in terms of being a leader, if your followers do not trust you, they are not going to follow you. Trust and respect are very, very closely linked. If I can't believe you, if I can't trust you, I am less likely to respect you in the true sense. And this is my next question. It's a little aside. What does respect really and truly mean to you? You might be in the position of displaying respectful behavior towards a person, but do you really respect them? Do you fear them, and you know that if you don't display respectful behavior, you're going to get in trouble? What does respect mean to you? And I really want you to think about this in all of your interactions going forward. 5 key dimensions underlie the concept of trust. They are integrity, competence, consistency, loyalty, and openness. So please pause the video here and just take a moment to ask yourself, do you agree with all 5 of these? And would you want to add or remove anything in terms of what underlies trust? Next are objectives. What are the goals and objectives that you want to achieve? Make sure everybody knows what they are so that they know exactly where they're going, and you can clarify the tasks that you all have to do. Next is the task. What kind of task is it? Is it clear and structured, or do you have to be creative with the solutions? Are you working by the book, or do you have to figure out the solutions as you go along with creative problem solving? The nature of the task is definitely going to change what kind of leader you're going to be in that situation. Next is rewards. Different people motivated by different things. This is really, really important. Certain people want more money. Certain people want time off. What people are motivated by will change how you reward them in situations. Please research the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. I really want you to spend at least 5 to 10 minutes reading up on intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, because it's important for you to know which one of these influences you more at college, which ones of these influence you more at the world of work, and in pretty much every single one of your behaviors, because we have to be motivated to engage in anything. And knowing whether this motivation is intrinsic or extrinsic will help you to motivate yourself more in situations that you don't find yourselves very motivated in. And I want you to question which one you think is more important. And finally, time. The more time you have for relationship behaviors, the less time you have for task behaviors, and vice versa. But sometimes it's really important for you to spend just a little bit of time on relationship behaviors so that you can get down to the task behaviors a little bit more harmoniously. Next is the quiz. Please can you complete the quiz on, it's not 2018, it's page it's page 218. So please complete the quiz on page 218 and do the exercises on page 219 to 221. And please do these alone. And then complete all of the exercises on page 227 to 228. So in summary, choosing an appropriate leadership style requires that you establish trust with your followers, clarify objectives, check out your followers' readiness levels, clarify and structure the task, explain paths for obtaining desired rewards, clarify your timeline, and apply appropriate degrees of task and relationship behaviors. In the next class, we're going to be looking at managing change. So how well do you manage change? And in fact, how well are you managing the change of life from usual life? It's hard to even remember back to the change during the lockdown in South Africa. Are you able to keep a schedule? Are you keeping up with your college work? Are you able to self-manage? All of these go into managing change. So think about that. Feel free to post your answers on the discussion board, and I will see you next time.